Aloha, this is Dr. Nick with Island Holistic Healing here on the big island of Hawaii. We just got back from a long trip and it is so nice to be home, and I promised you guys that I would show you how to make coconut milk. Coconut milk is, in my opinion, vitally important. Everyone should know how to make coconut milk because fresh coconut milk is the best thing ever, really, for making smoothies, curries. You want to make a fresh fish and you drizzle it with some coconut milk, coconut rice. I equate the coconut with the avocado, really. Everything is better with the coconut or with coconut milk, right? What doesn't become better with coconut milk? I mean, everything becomes better, right? It's the best milk on the planet for an adult human being, okay? I'm gonna show you guys how to open these coconuts, okay? You should be able to get this type of a coconut at an Asian market, a Mexican market, maybe your health food store. Although, you know, even if they don't have it, you can always talk to the produce manager and tell them that you'd like to buy a case of these mature old coconuts, because you're only going to be able to make real, true coconut milk from the old coconut, okay? Some people think the young coconut, where you get that young, soft coconut meat out of, and then you take the water and the meat and you blend it up, and you know that's you know, it becomes kind of coconut milkish, but that's not the real coconut milk. The real coconut milk is from the old coconut, okay? So I'm going to show you guys how we open these, okay? So I use a machete, okay? And I use the blunt end, okay? I do not use the sharp end of a machete to open up an old coconut. We're going to use the blunt end that's not sharp, okay? Because we don't need something sharp to open this, okay? All we need is something heavy enough to tap it open, okay? And then what we want to do is we want to break this so that it's in two halves, okay? And then I like to save the coconut water from the old coconut, so that's why I put a little strainer over my Vitamix container here. And I'm just going to, and the only reason I use the strainer is just because as I'm breaking this, you know, some of these little hairs and whatnot, not that they're harmful, you can drink them, I mean, it's no big deal, it's all natural, but I just like to not have them in the water when I break this, so that's the reason that I use this strainer, mesh strainer. So we're just gonna tap, okay? And just from one tap, we've already got the water draining, okay? So you can see the water's already draining just from one little tap, just with the not sharp end of the machete, okay? And then this is what you've got, okay? And then I'm gonna put the two halves into this bowl, and then I'm gonna show you how I'm going to be next process that, so that the next step towards making coconut milk. The only problem with making coconut milk is it's a little bit of a process, and it does take time, and that's the only problem with it. But other than that, it's worth the time just because it's so good and so healthy and so influentially beneficial for your health. So boom, we're gonna break, and break, okay? And then there now should be 2 halves of 2 coconuts. I'm going to do 3 today, just because since I'm going to be doing it, I'd rather get as much done as I can. So there's a little bit of water in this one. So again, I'm going to break, oops, break, 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 break. There we go. And I've got 3 really good halves. Okay, and that's going to make a lot of milk. I won't even make all of the milk from these 3 coconuts today. I'll probably make maybe 1.5 or 2, which will make enough coconut milk for most of the week. Maybe not the entire week, but most of the week. Okay, and then now I've got some good fresh coconut water. And I love the flavor of the old coconut water. It's actually got a really different taste than the young coconut water, but it's really, really good. Now, I'm just going to show you real quick. This is an old coconut that went bad, okay? So when I bought these, there was a couple of days where I left the coconut out of the refrigerator. And the thing to understand is when the old coconut, I call it old because it's been on the tree long enough for this meat to become very hard and become very milky, okay? This is an old coconut, okay? Or mature coconut, however you want to say it. And the reason why it gains that description is because it's been on the tree a long time, so it's old. Now this is a coconut that went bad. Once the coconut has been shaved to this level, it will not stay fresh very long. See, it will as long as you keep it in the refrigerator. If you leave it out of the refrigerator for a day or two, it's going to go bad very quickly. So this is one that went bad, okay? It had actually started to sprout. That's what this sprout is in the center here, but it went bad. So anyways, just to let you know, if you buy something like this and you bring it home, you have to put it in the refrigerator because it's not gonna, or make coconut milk with it right away because it's not going to stay good. Okay? So that is going to be thrown, tossed. No good. Now I'm going to show you the next step. So now that I'm in the kitchen, I'm going to take these halves and I'm going to put them into the oven. Okay? The reason why we do this is because we need to, it's very difficult to separate the meat from this shell. And so when we put it in the oven, it helps to dry it out so that it's easier to take this meat away from this shell. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the oven. And the oven helps to dry it out. Okay? Sort of like any other nut, really. If you think about it, any nut that you buy in the store has been dried. Okay, it's usually, if it has not been roasted and it's raw, it's been dried. Okay, it's never, the freshness of the nut would not last unless it's dried. In this situation, we're going to dry the coconut because we need to separate this to get it out. Okay? And we're going to put it in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes at 350 degrees. We're going to do bake 350 start. Okay? And then once it's finished with drying in the oven, then what we're going to do is we're going to resume the video so that you can see how to separate it using this tool, okay, that you buy on Amazon.com. So again, now that we've taken the coconuts out of the blender, okay, we've dried them out, so it's a lot easier to separate the meat from the shell here. And to continue to separate it, we're going to use this tool, which works really good. It's a coconut opening tool that you can get on Amazon.com. This is going to be the nut milk bag, and it's an organic nut milk bag. Okay, so it's not going to bring any toxicity of any kind into the actual milk. Okay, the coconut milk or coconut water from the old coconut. You do not blend the water that's in the old coconut with the coconut when you're making the coconut milk. You use distilled water only. You want to use pure, clean, distilled water, okay? Unless you live someplace where you dig your own well and you're the only person who uses that well, and the source of that water is incredibly clean. Otherwise, you will still want to distill the water, even if it's your own well water, and you don't know how incredibly or not incredibly clean the water is underneath the ground. Okay? So we put that into a separate container. And this water will keep in a mason jar for quite a decent period of time. Okay, so next, let's work on getting the coconut meat separated. And then, so here we're gonna start separating the coconut meat. And you gotta really, kind of get in there and dig it out. But if you didn't put it in the oven ahead of time, it would be a heck of a lot more difficult. Now there's other ways to do the making of the coconut milk. Like if you've ever been to tropical countries, like Kenya or Thailand or places like that, they'll have little sharp blades that'll actually it'll be a bit of a like semicircle, and you'll shred the coconut meat that way. So there's different ways of doing it. None of the ways are extremely simple, but eventually get the job done. Okay, so we've got 2 halves done so far. So I think what I'll do to show you guys what to do, how to make the coconut milk, I will not do all of them so that I can show you how to do the rest of it. So you're going to chop it up into, like somewhat like cube-like pieces. Let me do one more here so we can. Okay, so distilled water. We're going to fill the blender container all the way to almost the top. Okay, and then I'm gonna put this back over here. And then So we're gonna blend this up so that the coconut meat becomes finely shredded with the blender. Okay, so now that you're at this point, you're essentially, the coconut milk becomes like any other nut milk. And so we're gonna now pour this right into the nut milk bag. There we go. And we're gonna put our finished product into this jar here. We're gonna squeeze the milk out of our nut milk bag until we can squeeze no more. There we go. And that's a pretty good squeeze there. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to toss the shreds. Now, these are great if you have animals. If you have any chickens especially, they're going to love that shredded coconut. And of course, there are different things you could do with it if you wanted to make use of it. And then we're gonna pour this into the jar carefully. Okay. And then we're gonna do it again till the job is done. There we go. Okay. So we've made all the coconut milk, okay? As you can see, that's beautiful, fresh coconut milk, okay? We have a little bit here. We actually made another jar, and then we made ourselves a really amazing, beautiful tasting smoothie with fresh coconut milk, fresh coconut water, dates, frozen bananas, and what has become my favorite is this vanilla flavored plant-based protein, vanilla flavored. There's different flavors by this brand, Truvani. Most people know her as the Food Babe, and she makes this organic plant-based protein powder, which has limited ingredients. There's only a few ingredients: pea protein, vanilla, pumpkin seed concentrate, monk fruit extract, chia seed protein concentrate. So I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ingredients. I thought it was 6, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ingredients. So, oh yeah, sorry, it even says it right here. Protein powder made from only 5 ingredients. I should just read the package. So this is really great to be able to get a protein powder with only 5 ingredients. I mean, that is unbelievable, remarkable in the protein powder profession, I guess, or business or products. 5 ingredients. So anyways, and it really tastes great as well, just those 5 ingredients. So highly recommend that one. You know, when it comes to food, you know, less ingredients is more easy on your body to digest and metabolize. Okay, so made that. Made one other one for the gal behind the camera. She likes having some blueberries. So being a thoughtful person like I am, I made one for her with blueberries, but otherwise the same. And so we had made about 2 almost 64 ounce of coconut milk from just the 1.5 coconuts. From 1.5 coconuts, made almost 2 64 ounce mason jars. Okay, and then with the other 1.5, I cubed and put into these mason jars. Okay, and I'll put these in the refrigerator, so that by Sunday or Monday when I'm making fresh coconut milk, it'll be a lot faster because I've already got this up to this process already completed. Okay, you do not need a silicone seal for just the normal plastic top will do. However, when it comes to the fresh coconut milk that we made, definitely need to use the cap that has the silicone seal so that no air will get in, because the fresh coconut milk does not last long. The last and final thing that we do with the fresh coconut milk is we add some Celtic sea salt, some fine Celtic sea salt. It's a little bit of a grayish colored sea salt. It has lots of minerals and it'll help to preserve the coconut milk a little bit longer. So you're just gonna put a little bit into that, and then we'll put a little bit into the other one that we've used almost all of it. So you're gonna add a little bit of Celtic sea salt to that, and then you're just gonna shake it up real good. Okay, and then when you put the top on, you just want to make sure that you'll be able to loosen it up, because as it stays in the refrigerator, if it's too tight, sometimes you'll really struggle to get it to loosen up. So we want it to be real tight, and then we'll shake it up real good, and then we're just gonna loosen it just a tad, and then there we go, so that we don't get stuck with not being able to actually, and now, you know, nothing is gonna leak. Okay, it's on there real good. Okay, and then we're gonna put it into the refrigerator. So that's the end of the video on how to make fresh coconut milk. Okay, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Okay, and we'll see you next time. Mahalo.